Hey guys, Nicole here. I wanted to do a layout share. I've been continuing to work with older stash and got just a bit of a pile here and wanted to show you guys what I've made over the last few weeks. And then I was kind of ready to wrap up and move on to something different. So now is a good time as any. I've spent the last, I don't know, week or two working with some of my Vicki Boutin product. I had, I think, 3 different collections combined. Color Study, Field Notes, and there was one more in there. They were all kind of like the brighter colors, all older collections, and just worked with that for a few layouts. So I'll show you those really fast. So this is one layout, or actually the very last layout that I just did. So if you watched my last video on photo organization, I have been really trying to work hard on those 2019 pictures that I've sorted through and put into albums. I've been trying to go through those divided page protectors and try to get as many of those scrapbooked. There's a few newer photos in here, but a lot of these are from 2019. So I just kind of went through and found pictures that would work with this color scheme and got a few of them done. So this is just one, again, from 2019 of my youngest and one of her friends. And this is just a lot of layering, a lot of strips of, I use a lot of scraps, a lot of strips, a chipboard border sticker, some washi. I have like 12 washi tapes. I think I got all the washi tape collections for the collections that are in this combined kit, and so I need to be better at using it. But there are actually 2 washis there, and just some fun layering of flowers and use of a card and some chipboard. So that was fun. Okay. And then this one was New Year's Eve of 2019, going into 2020. And I had these 2 photos, and the layout is actually just about kind of the difference in my 2 daughters. So it was kind of a layout about New Year's Eve, but also about how different they are, their personalities, based on what they chose to wear, even though it was like a night in. And so I just journaled about that, and so it was kind of a multi-story kind of layout. But because of the background page had some pre-print design on each of the corners, I just used those designs to put a photo of each daughter. And then, so I think it was maybe the Color Study collection where you could buy, like, basically they were just white, a pack of stickers, like sticker sheets, and they were white, and the intent was to do like mixed media on them. And so I had taken a bunch of, like, I think they were maybe Jane Davenport paint pens, and I said I'm just gonna play with these because I don't do a lot of mixed media. And so I had just pre-colored all these stickers, and so I got a lot of them used on this one, and that was kind of I think I probably got half of those used up. And of course I pulled colors that match the collection, so for the most part they're all going to work at some point. But so you can see here how this is like a like this was one of them, and then like this flower, this butterfly here, this flower here, are all like painted. There's like a watercolor, I'm trying to think of what they were called. They're like a watercolor paint marker things from Jane Davenport that I probably need to pull out and use. Hopefully they don't dry up, or haven't used them in a while. But so that was fun to kind of get you some of those used up, and just a lot of the stickers and things. And so I get in modes where I'm like, I just want to play. I want to play with mixed media. I want to do some fun things. That doesn't happen quite as often, but every once in a while I do. And so when I get in those modes, it's kind of fun. Otherwise, I don't force it. If I don't feel like doing it, it's not part of my normal scrapbooking routine to do a lot of mixed media. So this one is a lot of definitely a cleaner layout, where I just pulled in some white cardstock and really just pulled papers that were colors that were within the photo. So the red and this aqua color mainly. And this again was from that 2019 pile. And so this was very bittersweet. We just actually lost our dog. And so it was sweet to, this is the first time I'd scrapbooked her since losing her. And so it was a sweet photo and I was happy to do it. So just did some strips both ways and very simple, just a little journaling box there. And one of the collections had these vellum stickers. And I have a whole bunch of these clips. I think what happened, I noticed I had like 2 of some of the supplies, like 2 sets of them. And I think what happened was I'd ordered them and then they also came in a class kit. So I had a lot of stickers and a lot of the embellishments from, I think it was maybe Color Study, or I'm not for sure. But so I still have a lot to use up, but I got a lot of it played with. So this one was fun. This one was where I used a lot of those pre-painted stickers. I just layered up a ton of them here. So I just had these funny pictures of my daughter. She was doing some weeding at my coffee shop to earn a little extra money, and I just took a photo of her because it was just one of those things I wanted to document, and she made a funny face at me, and so I just scrapbooked both of those photos together, and just kind of a fun memory of her. So I went with the flower theme and, that were in butterflies. And just, again, the colors in the picture. So the pink flowers, she was wearing navy. She had a yellow bag, had the green grass. So just made for a colorful layout. Just fun. And then this one is a grid style. And the reason I chose the grid style was because the actual photo itself had these squares. So I thought it would work to then have squares in the background to kind of go with that. And this is kind of a fun story. So my daughters actually would regularly go to like a summer Christian camp. And it's actually a camp that's been around for a long time. Like, I actually went to this camp when I was young. And so when I went to drop off one of my kids, I realized that inside the check-in area, they had all of their t-shirt designs from all the years that they had been open. And so I went 2 years in a row and I had these t-shirts and recognized them right away. Like, oh, those are the 2 years that I went. And so that was just fun to be like dropping my kids off at a place I had spent time there at their age. So it was kind of a neat deal. So I wanted to scrapbook that. And so I just had a lot of fun with the different pattern papers. I had this really pretty vellum paper. I love this vellum paper. I wish I had more of it. I only had like a scrap left, so I cut it into some squares and layered. And then I just had these 3 left of these metal embellishments. And I just used those up on here. I use some symbolism type of things. So for here, like, to me, I think the Trinity, because it was a Christian camp. I can do all things. Makes me think of I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I use some things that, to me felt like worked with a layout about a Christian camp. But then I just did some layering of some random embellishments and things, and tone on tone, and then some multicolored things as well. So this one is definitely busy and colorful, but I like it because of because of the picture itself. So in the picture, my daughter and her friend had taken a selfie of themselves in the mirror that was in the back of a display case for all these rocks and crystals. I'm thinking it was like some kind of rock shop or something that they were like hanging out in a downtown area and going into different stores. And so you have all these like layers and piles of these rocks. And so first of all, this background paper here I thought was this beautiful green, matched perfectly with the rocks that were in there. So that was a good base for me. Then I did a white, I think 11 by 11. And then I had this beautiful vellum paper that I just thought I wanted to go with kind of a circular theme because they were rocks. And so I loved that. And then layered that on top of another pattern paper that I just had a scrap of, a larger scrap, but that had, I don't know if you can see, had again more circles back there. So if you look closely, it may be hard to see in video, you see like faded versions of circles from that pattern paper underneath these really beautiful, vibrant circles that are on this vellum. And that was just fun. So then I went with a circle theme, grabbed a bunch of circular elements from the die cut packs and sticker sheets and the little dots, and just kind of went diagonal with that. I kind of went diagonal. I did a little cluster up here, a cluster here, and then a kind of a big cluster here. So there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it. I just kind of played and made it very colorful, and I love this Today Rocked. Haha. So I just had fun with this layout, and it's busier than I typically do, but I thought it turned out really pretty. And then this one, still in 2019. So that was a more recent photo. That's the only one so far that was not from the year I'm trying to get finished up. But this was this is actually a let's see. So I have a double page spread here with an insert in the middle. So make sure you can see. So these are just all the photos from, so I don't think they're even allowed to have their phones with them. So back in the day, I used to take like the disposable cameras, but my kids didn't do that. And so the photos that I'd get were from whatever they posted on Facebook, and like the camp people themselves and so I would always download them as soon as I saw one that my daughter was in. And so that's where these photos came from. So this is actually a layout that I made in a class. I'm thinking maybe scrapbooking and cards today, but it was a layout that I had done, but just hadn't added the photos yet. And so I had those organized with this collection because it was using these collections of supplies. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it a goal to get these finished up and pictures on them so I don't have empty layouts sitting around anymore. So this is one of those. So I counted the photos that I had. Some of them, I just made them work size-wise because I'd already printed them. I didn't want to reprint them. And so I just either cropped them down and then made them fit into the spaces. It's always a tricky part, right, about pre-making a layout without photos is you never quite know what size of photos you're going to have, what direction they're going to be, that kind of thing. So you have to be a little bit creative and willing to just kind of work with it a little bit. And then I did add some more to the layout. So I added a bunch more of my painted stickers, mostly all the butterflies. Again, I got a lot of those used up. So yeah, just super colorful and fun. It was definitely had a summer theme to it. So I just went to some of the summer photos that I had in that particular year. And like camp photos are perfect for a summer theme layout. So that was that. And then this is a insert. So it'll be like this. And so it has more photos. I didn't need to scrap all these individually. These are like group photos from their, I think they call it the singing barn or the choir barn or the worship barn. Like they have a barn where they did like their skits and singing and that kind of thing. Used one of the cards from the collection and then just did photos, and they all had my daughter in them. So that was a perfect way to really get her whole camp experience summed up in a double page spread with a divided page protector. Now it's all done. So I love that. This is also another one where it's a 2-page spread, and I had pre-done this layout in a class and just, again, figured out what I wanted to scrapbook on these pages. I look at colors, I look at feel, I look at theme, that kind of thing. And so basically what I did was I decided to scrapbook. My brother and sister-in-law had just celebrated their 30th anniversary. And so what they did was they they invited all their bridesmaids and groomsmen and then their spouses to come for like the weekend, and had a big party, and everyone but one spouse was able to come. So it was so fun. They recreated wedding pictures. Like, it was just a whole fun day. And so I have a ton of pictures from that day that I wanted to scrapbook. And you'll see that there's a lot of orange in the pictures, a lot of brighter colors. And so I thought these would be perfect. And I added more to the layout after I knew what pictures I was putting on there, that went with the theme of the photos. So this is the layout itself. You can see there's some mixed media on here. So I definitely know it was for a class, a Vicki Boutin class of some sort. And I just have lots of fun pictures throughout. And then I also did a divided protector in the middle. And then of more photos from that day. I need to journal yet. But this is front and back. So just added lots of photos. Again, it was just a really fun time. And I don't need to scrapbook all these individually, but what I did do was, as I was reminiscing on that day, I had a couple stories I did really want to tell separately from the overall day, the overall event. And so what I did was, I had a couple of photos I'd already printed, and I was like, okay, I don't want to throw these away. These would be perfect with the stories I still want to tell. So I have a couple more photos here, and then I just made myself a list of some of the individual stories or layouts I want to do. And then they'll just be housed with these layouts. And so I think that will be fun. I wanted to do a layout, printing up, I want to print off the original wedding photos and their recreations and actually compare them next to each other. So there's just a few different layouts I want to do yet. So I do have this here. I'll probably just stick it in a pocket and then get back to it at some point. So that's my plan. Okay, another 2-pager. Again, this is another, so I got all the layouts done that didn't have photos on them from these Vicki Boutin collections. And I can never remember what direction I think they go this way. I think it's this way. Maybe. I don't think it matters, honestly. And so one thing I love about doing Vicki Boutin classes in whatever format, if they're through her website or through Scrapbooking and Cards Today or whatever, is she always puts layouts together in a way that I would never. My brain doesn't work the same way. And that's why I love to do it, because I just don't structure layouts like she does. And it makes me really go outside the box a little bit. It makes me, it just makes me think about photo placement in a different way than what I typically do, layering in a different way, embellishing in a different way. And so I would have never had this as a 2-page spread, where this really kind of cleaner background and then this really kind of busier back. I don't know, but I love it together. I guess it's people nowadays call these companion pages versus a 2-page spread, but it was created as a 2-page spread. So anyway, I love this. So what I did with these was chose to do, layout about us going to see Les Mis, and so I just printed photos from the evening and scrapbooked about that. I think it's actually supposed to be like this. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think this way because the way the butterflies go. But anyway, so this is a really fun spread, and I'm glad I got pictures on it and that memory scrapbooked. And then this is a 1-pager here. So one collection, I think the Color Study collection, had a lot of paint, coloring, colored pencils, crayons, those kinds of artsy themes to them, paint brushes. And so it worked out perfect that 2 of the photos I hadn't scrapbooked yet from 2019 included my daughter being part of a paint mural project or competition at a local college. And she did it, I think she did it almost every year she was in high school, or at least 3 years she did it. And so I went ahead and scrapbooked those photos and just took advantage of using kind of the paint themed products, and really that had a lot of fun with that. So okay, moving on to different collections. So I pulled out a pink paisley collection called Here and Now. I think it was from, was it 2014 or it might have been 2019. Was it 20? Maybe it was 2019. I remember thinking it was the same year of the photos I was scrapbooking. So it's about a 6-year-old collection. I don't have a ton of it. I actually had 0 stickers, and I don't think I had that much of the collection to begin with. So when I pulled it out this time around, I basically had pattern paper. I had enamel dots. and I think maybe like a handful of die cuts is all I had to work with, and some sequin pack as well. So I kind of had to be creative, and I pulled in some things from my stash. Like these are Prima wood pieces that happened to be next to me, and it didn't initially occur to me to use them because two of the pieces I didn't use were like this really pretty turquoise color. But once I was able to look past that turquoise that didn't match this line at all, the rest of the pack matched perfectly. So when I was doing this layout, I decided to use those. Other than that, I pulled in some doilies from my stash, and then everything else is just from the paper, and then some alphas from my stash. And so I punched out some hearts and did a little banner here. So again, this is where tools can be super helpful. This one heart punch allowed me to embellish my page without needing, purchase supplies. Because again, I didn't have really a lot to go with these papers, but I wanted to get more of them used up. It's a beautiful collection. It's very themed by color, which is why I pulled it, because I had these specific pictures that I wanted to scrapbook, and it just matched the tones of these, the burgundies and the pinks and the navies super perfectly. It was from my 40th birthday outing with my family. I had this blush pink and this burgundy, and so I'm like, this is a perfect collection. I just wish I'd had more embellishments and things, but it worked out perfect. So there's a picture, just me and a selfie with each of my daughters. Just wanted to document those pictures. And then I did a layout combined with a divided page protector of just our evening out. And so I had some pictures we took at home before I left, and then just pictures from throughout the evening of us at the dinner. I think it's just one side. Yep. And so, so I had some fun with the sequins here. I do need to seal that yet. I put some sequins just loosely in that pocket, and I'll just seal that top there. And then I sprinkled some sequins around on the actual layout itself to kind of bring that all together. Again, I had a tag. I think that was actually, the tag might have been just from the cut apart sheet. I don't even know if I had any, did I even have? Yeah, I did have some. And so this I pulled in from my stash. And again, just pulled a doily, but everything else is pattern paper. I had some scraps of vellum that I think was from this collection that was at least in with it. And so again, a great way to get lots of photos, but I didn't have to do two layouts. I could just kind of put photos in one side and call it good. So I love this floral paper. It's so pretty. This is also from that same collection. And so it did have these pops of like green and yellow in there. And so, so for this layout, I went ahead, and because my daughter was wearing this burgundy black shirt, and then he was wearing black, and then the colors of the dining room at the time were kind of these darker, really pretty tones of like blue and browns. And so I thought that would work well. But it was more of a playful layout because it was about, I think they were playing Uno after school, and it was a fun memory. Again, 2019. And so I just did some layering of some of the fun pattern papers, and then used up a bunch of the die cuts here. I love that said again and again. That was, wait, is that the name? Yeah, I think it's called Here and Now. Or maybe it was called Again and Again. What was a collection called? I was thinking it was called Here and Now. But I love that saying was in the collection, and I love that because like they play Uno, over and over and over. Even though they weren't playing bingo, I thought the bingo card worked. When to bring in some of the colors that were in the rainbows up to the front. And then the fox was just cute because I thought it was playful and fun, and they were playing a game, so I thought that was fun. And this just says every day. And I pulled in some of the green down here, and then there's green on this tag. So I just wanted to kind of pull some of the colors that were in the rainbows up to the front, and but still very muted tones. And so another one with this collection, and here I did pull in a flower from my stash, which I'm trying to get those used up. I have so many. I mean, I don't have a ton. I have like maybe two like small Tupperware things of flowers left yet. And I just don't use flowers that often anymore, but I was looking around for some embellishments and I was like, let's use a flower on this one. And I found one that worked color wise. So here when I just did a kind of a quadrant, I did, I think 4, probably 5 by 5 squares in the background. And she just had this burgundy top on, and it was just a beautiful like close up of my youngest daughter. And I just wanted to, kind of talk about her at that age. And I used one of the butterflies, or yeah, dragon, I think it's a butterfly, and my happy life, and I journaled on a card. So I used the cut aparts and just a few of the die cuts. So okay, and then I made a couple layouts with, this is a Bo Bunny, I think it's called Lemonade Stand. And I think I was just going through my summer stash, and I was like, I want to try to get this collection used up a little bit. It was a cute collection. And so this is one page that I did. And again, not a lot of embellishments. I think I had maybe a sticker sheet, and I didn't have a ton, but I just challenged myself to work with what I had. So I just did 3 photos here. Again, this is my other daughter's camp experience that same year. And did the big group photo, and then the 3 pictures I had of her. And I just kind of split it in half a little bit, and I just separated it with this little border sticker here, and then I did the title down that way, and then just journaled on this tag. I did pull in some bling from my stash. And then the last one, which is actually the first one that I did, again, that I think it's called, yeah, it's called Lemonade Stand. And this one, I loved this cloud paper, so I wanted to use it. But then I also, they had a piece of paper that was like, it's hard to see, but has like waves of like water waves, and it's like an ombre. It's kind of probably hard to see because it's really subtle, but if you look really close, you can see that there are waves in the background. So I wanted to use both. Because my daughter had this kind of teal turquoise swimsuit on, and you have the picture of the water. So I just used the water for the bottom part and the cloud paper for the top part. And then they were at a water park, so there was like this little line of tickets, and that was worked, and a border sticker. And this background paper actually had a pre-printed like lemonade theme thing down here. So I covered most of it, but I wanted to show some of this wood grain down here, and these little triangles, and that got some other colors on my background. And so then I just brought those colors up with this tag here, and then just a bunch of the multicolored embellishments and things like that. So it's very multicolored, very colorful layout. So I have a die cut there, and then I pop dotted some up as I usually do. So that's it. So got some old collections played with. I think this one I was able to really just kind of be done with and split up into my summer stash. This one, I think I did the same thing. I just added it to my overall pink paisley stash. So I can just combine it with other collections, or, use them as loose supplies. And got some more of my 2019 layouts knocked out, which was nice. And I don't have to work on 2019. Like, that wasn't my intent, was that I had to scrapbook those photos now. In my last video, I just wanted to show you how I was organizing to know what photos needed to be scrapbooked and what ones needed to be printed and what ones had already been printed, etc., etc. And so, oops, I knew I was gonna do that. And so, but I'm like, I already had them out. I had all the albums out, and the pictures and their divided page protectors were just kind of sitting in front of me. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just knock out some of these 2019 memories. So I feel really good about these, and I'll get them into the albums of each child, and then our family album as well. And on to the next. So I I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to work with next. I am working on a kind of a 2-part series. I'm working with some old Glitz designs. Do you guys remember that company? I don't know if they're still putting up product. Maybe they are, but at least I haven't bought any in many, many years. I sure will have a video coming up soon about showing you some collections I'm combining of their old product and I'm going to work with, and how I bulked them up a little bit and what photos I'm going to use. And so I'm working on that. But I've kind of set that aside for a little bit because I did some layouts and then kind of just needed to do something a little bit different. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to play with next, but I just wanted to show you guys what I made with these older collections and inspire you all to pull out your old stash. New stash is fun too. I actually got some new stash. I think I need to upload that yet. I have a haul video. I just got some stuff from a Cherry on Top, from some collections over the last year and a half. Some brand new things, some things that they still had in stock in limited amounts, that I wanted to get what I could, because I am not shopping very much, and so I hadn't bought anything in a long time. So watch for that video. I should be uploading that shortly. But so, new stash is fine. Like, we have to support the industry, but I'm super motivated to just keep working away at my old stash and just refreshing it a little bit, and I still love it. It's in my room and trying to get it used. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll stop blabbering. I hope you guys have a great first week of September, and until next time, happy scrapping. Bye bye.